Hi, this is Matt Gifford from Hawk Hill Hardwood, sitting here with St. Joe's head coach Phil Martelli for SJUHawks.com. How are you today, Phil?
Matt, I'm doing great. It's great to see you, and I have to tell you, I really look forward to these sessions.
Same.
And you're a busy guy, teaching, and most importantly, a dad.
Absolutely.
But I love to engage with our fans through you, and would welcome these opportunities multiple times a year if we could do it.
This is great, yeah. And the questions today are going to be from fans, not from myself. And the first one that I had for you, Phil, had to do with everybody watching this, all St. Joe's fans know that St. Joe's has a new athletic director with Don DeJulia after his decades of service here being done and Jill Bodensteiner being here. The question I had for you was kind of basketball-centric, and it's how does your job kind of intersect with an athletic director, and are there changes with there being a new athletic director? And just like on a day-to-day basis, kind of how does the job at a Division I university of a men's basketball coach and an AD interact or intersect?
In talking with Jill, she wants it to be a day-to-day relationship.
Okay.
That's not normal in a Division I program. It's not normal at St. Joseph's. I have responsibilities. I fulfill those responsibilities. And then when something comes along, scheduling, hey, what game do you think we should move to the Palestra? Then that's when I would engage with Don. If there's a situation regarding academics and let's say a transfer coming in, I'll run it by Don and say, look, this is the guy that I'm going to present. This is why I'm going to present him. This is his background. My sense is that with Jill, not that she will micromanage, but I think that she wants to be in the fray.
Okay.
And every day there's a fray. There's a pile of things. Both of them have an interest, obviously, in this work that I'm doing with the NCAA, and both of them have encouraged, along with Dr. Reed, me to do this work with the NCAA. And Don and Jill have both indicated, hey, what's going on? Give me a heads up.
So one of the things you hit upon there was another question that I had for you related to scheduling. So I know there have been some releases. You kind of have an idea of what your schedule looks like for this coming year. Given the fact that you know what you have returning from last year combined with returning from injury, all things hopefully, does that at all impact, like at this point of the game, as you're looking for like kind of those last couple holes to fill in terms of scheduling? And also, could you just, for people maybe that didn't read press releases, just let us know sort of like what the schedule looks like for the upcoming season?
With scheduling, there's not as much freedom. It's not like we started 18-19 scheduling with a blank page. We know we're playing Villanova, we know we're playing Penn, we know we're playing Temple. We knew we were playing in a tournament scheduled for Puerto Rico, now moved to Myrtle Beach. We knew who was in that tournament when it was scheduled for Puerto Rico. We knew that there was a chance to play a West Virginia. We knew that Central Florida could be the preseason favorite in the AAC.
Yeah.
So we kind of calculated it off of that. We knew that we would have a return game with Illinois Chicago. We knew we had a return game with Princeton. We had money set aside to get a couple of bye games for this particular year. We had a reach out from Old Dominion and William & Mary.
Okay.
But when William & Mary was in the discussion, the way it mapped out and the way that the numbers work, we said to William & Mary, we would like that game, but we'll come to you. We have to go on the road for that game. They're the right number RPI.
True road game.
True road game. All of the numbers, because Joe Lenardi just doesn't sit there and our staff doesn't sit there. We calculate the numbers.
So when you look at like an Old Dominion, you know, number-wise.
Right, Matt.
And we also know,
that's a sneaky good going team. Forward, because of what we feel we have, we know at the end of the year that we will not be left out because of strength of schedule.
Okay, I actually was going to ask you that exact question.
We look exactly, so somebody would say Middle Tennessee State was left out. We've looked at
St. Mary's.
We've looked at their strength of schedule.
Yeah.
We've looked at home and away. We look at those Power Fives that got in late, and you're thinking, how did Arizona State get in? They were under 500 in their own league.
Right.
Well, they have a win against Kansas in November.
Yeah.
Carried the day for them. So we've tried to study not just our league, but those that we feel, because at the end of the year, we're not competing against an Atlantic 10 team for an at-large bid.
Right.
We could be competing against Illinois. We could be competing against Creighton. And so we want to look at all of those things. And even to this date right now, we're still shuffling and shuffling and shuffling because there is a game that I would really like to get that is on the date, on it where a game we already have.
Okay.
I'm trying to check contracts and see how that will work out. What we're going to do is we're going to open the season on a Friday night against Old Dominion in this building.
Okay.
November the 9th, I believe, is the date. I know it's a Friday. I just don't know if the 9th is the Friday.
So that'll be your opener here.
Opener will be here. Then we're going to play Monmouth here.
Okay.
And that is the 4th game of our multiple team exempt tournament.
Got it. So that's related to the...
That's related to the Myrtle Beach tournament. What we're looking for in Myrtle Beach is that will be seated. We're thinking we're going to be seated 5 or 6, maybe 4. Mm-hmm. So that's going to give us a 50-50 game. But we win that game, then we're going to get 2 Power 5.
So you'd be talking about like a West Virginia or a Central Florida type of
one
of those.
Yeah, and that's what we're hoping for in that segment. Illinois Chicago is going to be on a Wednesday night here. Temple is going to be that Saturday here. That's like the end of November, early December. Then Villanova is out there on a Saturday at Princeton. And I'm trying to do the order. Then there's a break for exams.
And then you said earlier James Madison.
William and Mary.
William and Mary, excuse me.
William and Mary is right before Christmas, if I remember that correctly, because we tried to minimize missed school.
Got it.
When we take that Myrtle Beach, we're going to miss 4 or 5 days of school.
Okay.
And then what we wanted to do was to minimize that. So William and Mary on the road would be an in and out. Scheduling to me is there's a lot of variables, but you hit on a really key one. How good's our team?
Yeah.
What's right for our team? And we have never been denied an NCAA berth because of strength of schedule. Mm-hmm. We're always in that range in the Atlantic 10, 4 or 5. Now with the new system of quadrants, we spend a lot of time picking apart an opponent and saying, that's the right game for this team, for the aspirations that we have at the end of the year.
So when fans come out that night in November for Old Dominion, it's for a reason. It's not that they're a good team.
Right.
They're a really good team, and they're scheduled intentionally.
Yeah, Old Dominion was scheduled intentionally from their side too, because if you read their articles in their local papers down there, Conference USA, one bid league.
How can they change
that? There's an attraction to them having St. Joseph's on their schedule.
Absolutely. So shifting gears just a little bit, talking about how good this team is, I mentioned coming back from injury. I don't want to make this question about, this isn't a, is Charlie healthy, is Fresh healthy, is Checo healthy type of question. The question is this. The last 2 years, so I've been covering for about 10 years. I don't remember a year that was like the last 2, and then you compounded that by going back to back. You've been coaching for a long time. Did those injuries change anything about you from like a philosophical standpoint in terms of roster composition and in terms of recruiting, or even in terms of game planning? Like, how did having to deal with, I mean, last year 2 season-ending injuries to all league caliber players, like how does that shape you, and how do you make yourself and the team better moving forward, kind of learning from that?
I'm going to start with practice, Matt.
Okay.
First thing that I did is I've met with Bill Luke, athletic trainer, and Brian Bing. I said, tell me, what is it? What? And I take it personal. Like, what is it that I missed? What is it? Did I have anything to do with these? And we went injury by injury by injury. And then the next thing that I did is I looked at practice. So in our situation now, if we play on a Wednesday and we're going to play on Saturday, Thursday used to be maybe an hour and 15 minutes on the court, film, lift. So now what we do is we're calling that a recovery day.
Okay.
We come in. We might get whirlpools. We might go in the pool. They have these boots that they could wear. We watch film. And then we go on the court as if we were a football team, and we'll walk through some of the concepts. Practice is then on Friday. Saturday, we play. We're off on Sunday. Monday now, because we're coming off of a day of rest, we can practice.
We can go kind of full.
We can
full
practice. But I have, in my mind, really adjusted to that. And it was everybody kind of having an opinion and a thought about what to do with practice. Now go into the off season. So in the off season, so summer workouts will begin June 18th. There's about 6 or 7 guys who are here for summer 1. The full team, and it's 11 scholarship guys, they'll all be here July 1st and we'll start. The NCAA this year is allowing us 4 hours on the court.
What was it previously?
It was 2
Okay.
hours on the court. We're going to split the difference. We're going to work out for 3 hours Mondays and Tuesdays, an hour and a half each day. Do I want them full tilt, ready to go? No. But I need them to know that there is a fitness level that they need to, because we want to play a certain way.
Okay.
Then I go back and I look at the team, and I go over this twice a week with the coaches. Here's who we have. Here's what's happening. And you're very, very kind. The answer is yes. Fresh is fine. The answer is
I wasn't
yes.
going to.
Charlie is fine.
This was a higher level question.
And Checo. Now, fine is they're back on the court doing certain things. With Fresh, no contact yet.
Okay.
With Charlie, he's a little bit further along. He's had a little bit more contact. With Checo, no contact yet.
Got it.
July 1, I would like to be able to say, okay, we're going to go 5-on-5 or 1-on-1 and gauge where those guys are, not based on are they ready to play November 9th, but are they ready to get the next day and the next day and the next day, and so there is a process. But I agonize over the roster, and I'll look at it, and I would say to you, Matt, you know what? I'm really, really good. I feel great. I feel great. Fresh Kimball, Jared Bynum. Going to be tough for anybody to have better point guards than the two of them.
And kind of different.
Right.
Different types of point guards.
Different kind of guys. Okay, what if? Well, what if right now would be Nick Robinson, right? What if Charlie, Chris Clover? Well, what if Charlie? And the answer that I keep coming back to is, how would I get a quality kid now?
Yeah.
And say, if this works out. The last time that ever happened here was Dwayne Lee Kane knowing that Jameer Nelson could stay for his senior year. Dwayne Lee was brought here because the expectation is Jameer was going to leave as a junior. Dwayne, you would start as a sophomore. He didn't start till he was a junior.
Right, and backing up for 1 year is one thing. Backing up for 2 years, that's a very
tough sell. And it's just not going to happen in the egotistical world.
Right.
And the other thing is the free agency world.
Yeah.
The kid might say, yeah, that's good, but I'll go try this at St. Francis, PA, and if you still love me, I can come back, but I'll have played.
Yeah, exactly.
So that then takes me into another world. That takes me into a completely another world. 5th-year transfer, right? Now, I got crushed for a 5th-year transfer.
Right.
Everybody understands that, and I accept that. And I'll be honest with you. with the same circumstances today, I would do it the way we did it.
Okay.
That we as a university did, because it wasn't a unilateral.
It wasn't simply you.
Right. It wasn't a unilateral decision. But I've dabbled in that world, and the reason that I've dabbled is because the kids that I've dabbled with have kept it quiet.
Yeah.
It hasn't been a social media circus. I don't have to answer a lot of questions about, well, so even to this day, is there still the possibility when I look at this roster and say,
when you do that what if thing,
what if, what if, what if, what if Charlie going down would impact our long range shooting?
Without a doubt, yeah.
It would impact it. So is there a fifth-year kid out there who knocks out shots? Is there a fifth-year kid out there who I could then sell, and I don't like using that term, but I could sell them on, no, here, listen to me, Fresh, Jared, Charlie, Nick, Chris Clover. So is he coming in to compete against Chris Clover? Well, maybe you could beat out Nick. Like, how would I sell that to Nick?
Yeah.
And how would I sell that to the kid?
And from and a chemistry standpoint as
right,
well, I'm
right.
sure.
This is a team that you like to be around.
Okay.
So, well, maybe that's not the hole. Maybe the hole is a bruiser because
it's like a different kind of big man.
Anthony, Taylor. Then I ask myself the question, well, maybe that bruiser is Markel. And maybe if Markel's role is that narrow,
fill that role.
Fill that role. So I have, in roster construction, I look at not just, let's just add a guy. Because if we add a guy, we're not going to find somebody better than Fresh and Jared.
Right.
Because if somebody said, well, who's the third point guard? Well, maybe we wouldn't even add a third point guard who's better than Nick Robinson in an emergency. So the answer, long-winded to that, is everything. Because of the injuries, I've looked at everything, but I have not and will not bury my head in my hands and say, woe is us.
Right.
It happened, and Charlie Brown has been told next November 9th against Old Dominion, you're playing against Old Dominion. You're not playing against the 32 games you missed this year.
Right.